Coming up on BCN today, Teck Resources Limited withdraws application for oil sands mining project. Plus, Lethbridge City Council to shelf funding for 4 capital improvement projects. We tell you which ones are on the chopping block. And after 3 weeks of blocked rail service, Ontario Police take action to clear blockades.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello and thanks for joining us on this snowy Monday. Teck Resources Limited has withdrawn its application for the massive Frontier Oil Sands mining project in northern Alberta. In a letter to the Federal Environment Minister, Teck CEO and President Don Lindsay says investors and customers increasingly want jurisdictions to have a framework in place that reconciles resource development and climate change. 14 First Nations and Métis communities signed participation agreements with a company on the mine, and the project was awaiting approval from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government. Natural Resources Minister Seamus O'Regan and Environment Minister Jonathan Wilkinson said in a joint statement that as a result of Teck's announcement, Cabinet will no longer be making a decision on the project. Lethbridge City Council meets today, and on their agenda is the possibility of curbing some capital improvement projects. Council is specifically considering removing 4 community projects off the list to be considered for city funding, citing its recent operational review, which suggested it needs to cut back on spending, along with lack of financial support from the province in the form of grants. Today, Council will vote on whether or not to shelve 3 arts projects, including enhancements to the Southern Alberta Art Gallery, as well as the construction for the Pathway System Connections Extension Project. Items dropped from this 4-year CIP will be considered for the next one. Council meets today at 1:30. Dozens of Ontario Provincial Police moved in after 8 o'clock local time this morning to begin clearing a rail blockade on Tyendinaga Mohawk territory in eastern Ontario. Police and CN Rail had given protesters until midnight to clear the blockades that have shut down rail service in most of eastern Canada for nearly 3 weeks. Live coverage showed several protesters being arrested and put in police vans. The barricade was erected in support of the hereditary chiefs of BC's Wet'suwet'en First Nation opposed to a natural gas pipeline crossing their territory. And how cool is this? Sony Pictures has confirmed that arrangements are being made for a special advanced screening of the film Ghostbusters Afterlife to take place in Fort Macleod's historic Empress Theatre in early July. As many of you know, parts of the Hollywood movie were filmed in the southern Alberta town last summer. The movie premiere event will also double as a fundraiser, going toward new chairs and flooring for the Empress Theatre. Alberta Liberal Party leader David Kahn made a visit to our city Sunday to meet with residents to discuss local concerns and to share his vision for the future of our province.
Well, I'm hearing that Albertans are really worried about cuts to education, attack on our post-secondary institutions, damage to our healthcare system, and all of those will be damaging to our future prosperity. We've got a challenging economic situation here in the province. Everyone knows that. We've got to balance the needs of our public sector workers with fiscal responsibility. But we need to invest strategically in our public sector to reduce long-term costs. So we would invest in long-term care, preventative care, primary care, to reduce costs in the healthcare system. We would invest in teachers and reduce class sizes and invest in our future. And that's what we need to be focused on.
There's new data out today on how many Canadians live below the poverty line. Stats Canada says 3.2 million Canadians fall below the poverty benchmark based on 2018 income tax returns. The agency says the national poverty rate dropped to 8.7% in 2018 compared with 9.5% a year earlier. The 9th annual Coldest Night of the Year walk took place Saturday night. Thankfully, the weather didn't match up with the event name this year, but the Streets Alive mission event did bring awareness to the reality of homelessness in our city.
It is a walkathon to raise awareness and funds for the homeless and for the poverty stricken here in Lethbridge. So the funds raised here will stay here. Those funds will be put into the programs that we run. They'll go into helping with the food bank. We have an emergency food bank that'll go into the dinner program that we run 7 days a week. It'll go into the pin bank and definitely be here for supports for the people that we serve.
This year, participants walked around the Evangelical Free Church in Lethbridge. Anyone wishing to donate to the cause can still do so online at streetsalive.ca. Artists in Lethbridge are being invited to think outside the box. The City of Lethbridge Public Art Program and the Heart of Our City Committee are adding a splash of color to the city by inviting local artists to decorate utility boxes.
This is a really, really exciting initiative that is coming forth from the Art Committee of the City of Lethbridge. It's very much a project that is directed towards our local artists of all sort of ages and skill sets, so it gives great opportunity, and it is a huge beautification program for the city. So it is a utility wrapping box. It will be a pilot project with an artist call to wrap 5 boxes in Galt Gardens, as well as a large utility box at Casa.
Selected artists will receive $500 per utility box for their creations. The Lethbridge Police Crime Suppression Team arrested 8 people at 2 homes located in the 1800 block of First Avenue North on Friday. Police have been receiving numerous complaints from neighbors with regard to regular drug traffic coming and going, and the SCAN unit is working on potentially shutting down the 2 properties in question. A number of drugs and weapons were seized, and the 8 offenders are facing multiple charges. The names of the accused have not been released. 4 Alberta MPs, including Calgary Conservative Michelle Rempel-Garner, have published an online manifesto denouncing what they say is unfair treatment of Alberta within Confederation. In a tweet, Rempel-Garner said Alberta is not and has never been an equal partner in Confederation, and real structural change is needed. Political reporter Tyler Dawson says this has fueled more talk of separation.
They basically say no ifs, ands, or buts that Alberta is an unequal partner in Confederation, and if something isn't done to address that, many Albertans are going to vote for independence. They conclude this letter, which is about 13 pages long. They conclude it by saying, one way or another, Albertans will get equality. So it's some pretty strong words in this.
Catch the full interview with Tyler Dawson as he also discusses what we can expect with the throne speech and budget as the legislature returns this week. That is coming up in the second half of our show. The federal Conservatives will choose their new leader in June. Will it be Peter MacKay, Aaron O'Toole, or how about Marilyn Gladue? Whoever it is, the person that will be tasked with bringing the country together, according to the University of Lethbridge political science professor, Dr. Jeffrey Hale.
We are no longer a country in the traditional sense of the term. We are deeply divided on multiple levels: region, ethnicity, language, secular versus religious, and so on and so forth. And we see that with the way so many regional conflicts are reinforcing multiple solitudes in this country. Somebody who can bridge those solitudes in a respectful manner and make people feel that the person can identify with them will go a long way.
Dr. Hale will give his thoughts on who he thinks is the front runner to win the Tory leadership. Watch for that full interview coming up in the second half of our show. The Trudeau Liberals are looking to put forward legislation that would ban assault rifles from law-abiding owners. BCN's Micah Quinn went to the LFGA shooting sports facility in Lethbridge to speak with local gun owners and get their reactions to the proposed ban.
That's the sound that most gun owners want to keep hearing, but the federal government is proposing a gun ban for Canadians.
If the government's objective is to waste $50 billion, make life miserable for the legitimate firearm owners in Canada, and not in any way impact crime, then it's great legislation, if that's what their goal is.
Kevin Pack brings his grandson to the range to shoot and is a strong supporter of the petition that was signed by over 175,000 people saying they don't want guns to be banned.
The government, with 175,000 signatures, biggest one in Canada, to not be able to change the legislation without changing the legislation. I believe they're trying to force the government to not go with orders in council in order to, put across these firearms bans, firearms confiscations, etc.
Kevin says that there is a big difference between being a responsible gun owner and what the Trudeau Liberals are proposing to do with this gun ban.
Law-abiding citizens jump through hoops when they're not the ones causing the problems. The law-abiding gun owners, the people that have licenses to possess them, to acquire them, aren't the people committing the crimes with the handguns and with the semi-automatic firearms that they're talking about confiscating from citizens. They're not the ones causing the crimes.
For Bridge City News, I'm Micah Quinn.
Premier Doug Ford has officially kicked off his re-election campaign, even though that vote is more than 2 years away. He made the remarks Saturday at the annual Progressive Conservative Policy Convention in Niagara Falls. Ford told party faithfuls he believes the Tories will be competitive everywhere, even in NDP-held ridings with strong union bases across the province.
That we would make Ontario a place where anyone could build a better life for themselves, a place to grow. We're making this province the greatest economic engine our country has ever seen. A province where you can walk into any corner store and buy a 6-pack of beer or a bottle of wine like you can do anywhere else in the world except here in Ontario. And most importantly, a government that respects your tax dollars, lowers taxes for hard-working families and individuals, and leaves more money in your pocket. That's the province we're building together. That's the plan we're delivering for the hard-working people of Ontario. That's the strong Conservative agenda track record we will run on 2022. My friends, we are blazing a new trail. We're creating prosperity and growth and opportunity, the likes of which this province has never seen before. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support, and God bless each and every one of you.
Ontario Labour leaders are, however, discussing the possibility of a union-led general strike to fight public service cuts. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has established himself as the clear front-runner in the race for the Democratic presidential nomination. He scored a resounding victory in the Nevada caucuses Saturday, as Sanders says he's expecting to win Super Tuesday on March 3rd after the South Carolina primary.
So let me thank the people of Nevada for their support. In Nevada, we have just put together a multi-generational, multi-racial coalition, which is going to not only win in Nevada, it's going to sweep this country. And in Nevada and in New Hampshire and in Iowa, what we showed is that our volunteers are prepared to knock on hundreds and hundreds of thousands of doors. That no campaign has a grassroots movement like we do, which is another reason why we're going to win this election.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump is denying that he was briefed about Russian efforts to help Bernie Sanders win the Democratic nomination, but Sanders claims U.S. officials did brief him last month on the issue. President Donald Trump arrived in India today for a 2-day visit. His packed itinerary includes a large rally in the world's biggest cricket stadium in the western Indian city of Ahmedabad and a sunset visit to the Taj Mahal. 20,000 fans are expected to pack the Staples Center in Los Angeles today for a public farewell to basketball star Kobe Bryant. He and his 13-year-old daughter Gianna were among 9 people killed in a helicopter crash last month. Tickets were made available free of charge, but are being resold up to $1,000 each. It's not clear if Bryant's wife Vanessa will attend. And we had a snowy start to our week, but will it stick around? I've got weather details coming up right after the break. Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to a very snowy start to our week. We are covered in snow right now, but the flurries should be dissipating around noon today, and then we still have a 30% chance of flurries for the rest of the day. The high today, 0, low overnight tonight, -11, and into tomorrow we should climb up to 5 degrees, and we should see that sunshine as that snow is going to dissipate. And then look what we have here for the rest of the week. Lots of sunshine coming up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Highs of 7. We're going to climb to the double digits for Thursday for 10 degrees, and we could possibly see some teen temperatures with a high of 13 on Friday and a high of 12 for Saturday and 7 for Sunday. So mainly sunny skies next week with some scattered clouds for the weekend. The almanac highs and lows for this time of year, 3 being the high, -9 being the low. The high temperature on this day was back in 1983. It was 19 degrees, and it was -32 back in 1940. The sun rose this morning at 7:25 a.m., and it will be setting just after 6 p.m. finally. So at 6:04, we could be seeing our sunset tonight. And isn't it nice to be seeing those longer days of sunshine? As we look to the west coast, we're going to see some scattered showers today. Victoria's high 8, Vancouver's high 7, -4 is the high today in Edmonton under a sunny sky. Flurries expected today, much like Lethbridge today for Calgary with a high of -3. Over in Saskatoon, -4 is the high with sunny skies there. A mix of sun and cloud with a chance of flurries today in Regina with a high of 2 degrees. High of -2 though over in Winnipeg under sunny skies. Now further east, Toronto, we're going to see a high of 9 degrees, high of 7 over in Ottawa, and 8 degrees is expected today in Montreal. Nice considering what they had recently with those mega minus temperatures. Mix of sun and cloud across that region too. Lots of sunshine today expected in Fredericton with a high of 9 degrees. 7 degrees is expected in Halifax, also sunny skies there. Scattered clouds today expected in Charlottetown with a high of 7 degrees. And St. John's, Newfoundland could see some scattered clouds today with a high of 0. There you go, not looking too bad. That is your forecast. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. L'Arche Association of Lethbridge is holding their second annual benefit dinner and silent auction on Saturday, February 29th from 4:30 to 9 p.m. at the Multicultural Center. Enjoy a delicious catered dinner and special guest speaker, Michael McDonald. Tickets are $100, from which $60 tax receipts will be given. Support this worthy cause and purchase yours today by calling 403-328-3735, extension 4. For details, visit larchelethbridge.org. Come for a night of down-home fun to the Friends Winter Barn Dance on Saturday, March 7th, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Galt Museum and Archives. Wear your best Western hat and boots and dance the night away. Proceeds will go towards educational programs at the Galt. Tickets are $30 for adults, $20 for youth ages 11 to 17, and children 10 and under are free. Purchase yours by visiting galtmuseum.com. Come out to the largest home and garden show in southern Alberta. The 2020 Home and Garden Show is taking place from March 18th to the 21st at Exhibition Park in Lethbridge. Discover a variety of exhibitors, ranging from flooring and cabinets to hot tubs and fireplaces, and much, much more. Admission is $7 per person. Children under 10 can enter for free. Parking fee is $5. For more information, visit exhibitionpark.ca. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
When you mention the Supervised consumption site in Lethbridge, you receive a lot of passionate responses from people in the Windy City. As BCN's Loris Alexander discovered, our region is still quite divided on the issue of the SCS and arches.
I think people forget that it's one of 4 pillars, and the 4 pillars very simply stated, and I might not have them exactly in the right order: housing, which we don't have. We simply don't have adequate housing for people. Another pillar actually is the consumption site. The third one is treatment. We don't really have adequate treatment. We're currently observing the construction of a 30-bed intox/detox center next door to us, and that's a good step. The last of the 4 pillars is a long-term treatment, long-term care, support, to walk with people. So, but what we're doing, I think, is we're putting all of our, quote, eggs in one basket.
Regardless, Ginther says his mandate is from beyond this earth, but it's a simple one: to feed the hungry.
The government, I would like the province to state that yes, these kids need somewhere to go. These kids need somewhere to have a home. They can't be lost out here anymore.
It's enabling them. We should be trying to focus on a recovery system. You know, there's got to be, like when I quit drinking, my doctor gave me Librium to take away the withdrawals and the side effects. There's got to be something that we can do for these drugs.
Stefan Amundsen, a Lethbridge business owner, says we're bearing the brunt of the problem.
I had a sister that was an addict, a heroin addict, and passed away. And so I approach this with a lot of compassion. That does not make me an expert on this subject matter. It does not provide me with any better perspective as to the solutions. It just provides me with a little compassion. It's a really tough balance. It's a tough balance between our investment in the community, our investment in a building, our investment in our people. It's not just about dollars and cents for us.
We've existed in our location for 4 years. The SES has only been here for 2. And so we kind of have this view of, like, we have an idea of what the neighborhood was like before the SES, as well as after the SES kind of showed up and started operating. And because we're a little bit further away from the SES site, we're still in proximity, but we're about 4 blocks distant. Our experience in the neighborhood has actually dramatically improved since they opened.
Levi Cox says he supports Arches and has even fundraised for them several times.
I understand the businesses immediately surrounding the site are having issues and difficulties. I've been living and working downtown for over 18 years, so I understand. But I always cannot help that there's this underlining racism that is actually happening. And I hear it in the comments, I hear it from people all the time, and I would like a lot more acceptance and understanding from everybody in Lethbridge and our rural communities and everyone. And I just, it's disheartening to think that this racist undertone survives here in Lethbridge.
For Bridge City News, I'm Loris Alexander.
Thank you, Loris, for that report. The Blackfoot Canadian Cultural Society held its annual International Peace Powwow at the Lethbridge NMAC Centre over the weekend. The Contemporary Aboriginal Arts Festival included competitive dances as well as music and visual arts presentations, celebrating Indigenous heritage and culture. Blackfoot nations from Alberta and others from Western Canada and the U.S. gathered to powwow together.
I know for me personally, growing up, that when I did get into powwow, it was empowering. So then you go back into your daily life after an event like this, and you feel like you can almost conquer anything because you're so proud of what you do. So the goal of this is just to inspire, bring pride to Native people, and also showcase the positive aspect and the positive culture that Native people have in this area. We will continue doing it until we reach those goals.
To be back a part of this circle, it's a big deal. It's really a big deal. It's a big connection to spirituality, being back to my roots, and to be surrounded by my people.
The Provincial Mixed Doubles Curling Championship was underway this weekend at the ATB Ice Centre, and 2 local curlers, Cody Smith and Krista Shortridge, were hoping the home ice fans would give them a boost. Event co-chair Stephanie Venom says it's a great opportunity to see some top-notch curling.
It is a very competitive level. It's at the provincial level. Next, they're heading to Canadian Nationals in Manitoba next month, March 2020, at Portage La Prairie. There are 24 teams curling here. Teams consist of 2 people, so 48 total. We have a good curling community here, and we have lots of spectators coming out to cheer on these curlers. Yesterday, we had lots of people at the opening draws and opening ceremonies, and a few people coming out today, and tomorrow we have the finals, so we encourage people to come on out and cheer on these curlers.
The Lethbridge Hurricanes took to the ice Friday against the Moose Jaw Warriors. The game focused on organ donation and the tremendous impact it's had on the community. The team also donned their retro baby blue jerseys.
Yeah, obviously there's about 4,300 Canadians on the waiting list, and you know, obviously if you're interested in organ donation, make sure you talk to your family and stuff like that, because they carry on your wishes. But it's obviously a very important night for us. It's a very important night for our league. And you know, anytime we can raise awareness for something like that, it's huge for us. Obviously, anytime we can get some cool jerseys on us, it's awesome for us. And you got the nicknames on the back, so it shows a little character to the fans. So I like them. I think they're designed awesome, and it should be fun.
Logan Boulet was a player that was unfortunately killed in the Humboldt crash, and his decision for organ donation saved 6 lives.
Over 1,600 Canadians are put on an organ waiting list every year. There are many who want our healthcare system to stay the way it is, but there are those who believe that we should also allow some private healthcare to help alleviate wait times. Hal Roberts spoke with Derek Fromm with the Constitution Foundation on the issue. That interview is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.